hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here the ARCA restarts up we go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
It's championship night here in the Glove Station ARCA series right here on V-Speed. And we want to welcome everyone in to celebrate what Glove Station and Goat Locker Racing have done this season. Good evening, everyone, and of course, welcome in once again. I'm Dave Riegel alongside of Sky Shrek with none other than Eddie Smith back in the production truck. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and making us a part of your evening. And of course, as always, we want to thank you for hanging out with us right here on V-Speed. Folks, it is championship night. We have gone through a lot this season, and it all comes together in this. You know, first of all, Eddie, this has been an incredible night as we gather here at Kentucky, something that we don't often get to do, but with the advent and excitement of iRacing, all of a sudden we can have championship night in Kentucky.
Yeah, it's an odd speedway, but a fun one indeed. But what I love the most about this is that it's not a track these guys spend a whole lot of time at. We'll take a look at it here, 1.5 miler track, and it's sort of flip-flop. 1 and 2, like Charlotte, Texas, you kind of check up a little bit, get down to the bottom, gas it up. 3 and 4 is a little bit faster. The exact opposite here at Kentucky. You're actually wide open into 1 and 2, and you have to really check up in 3 and 4. So it can definitely throw off these cars. Depends on the handling of the car tonight, how everything is going to be happening. It's going to be a night race, and so that could change the grip levels, make these cars a little bit faster. But throwing a wild card at Kentucky somewhere we don't really go, I think that's really, really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, especially because at least here in the ARCA series, this isn't on the normal circuit, and we've never celebrated a championship, whether in real life or at least in my career on iRacing, here at Kentucky. So speaking of which, let's take a look at that championship on the AM side. Oh, I'm sorry, on the pro side. Mark Whitley, Logan Threlkeld, Joseph McWhorter, and of course our good friend Barrett Morton. Those are the top 4 on the pro side. They have, made it through the regular season. And of course, this is also splitting these divisions into the East and West this year, just because of how much interest we had, which is something that I really think Goat Locker Racing has to tip their cap to. I mean, a huge salute to them for getting it done and figuring out the logistics of having this many drivers crammed in to one league. But, of course, my eyeballs are going to be all over that McWhorter and Whitley battle. It seems like a lot of times we see McWhorter maybe fall through the standings a little bit, depending on situations on the racetrack. And then, of course, he comes charging through. I'm excited to see that. Over on the AM side, Samuel Joseph comes in, and he's also got Cedarius Days, Charles Abert, and, of course, Mr. Parks here checking in, which, Daniel Parks doing what he's done all season long has been incredible as well. I mean, to work through, at least the East and West divisions over here on the AM side, we're pretty evenly split, 2 from the East, 2 from the West, as we get ready to rock and roll. So, qualifying now wrapping up, and it's finally time to go one more time to our Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award winner. And tonight that goes to Mark Whitley, driver of the number 74. He's going to sit alongside the front row with Jake Ham starting in second. In row number 2, starting in third position, going to be Sean Kaiser out of the Bandits Motorsports, and Jake Ellingson starting in fourth position. Rounding out your starting top 5 is George Jewell, and he'll be joined on row number 3 with none other than Joseph McWhorter. Starting in 7th position tonight is Barrett Morton, another playoff driver alongside Timothy Wilmus, who has battled his way through this entire season. Rounding out your starting top 10 is none other than Samuel Joseph and Alan Smith, last year's reigning AM champion, starting in 10th position. In 11th is Kyle Deering. He's going to sit alongside of Dave Calvert Sr. with Logan Santa Threlkeld starting in 13th, alongside of Jamie Libke, who missed the playoffs after a great performance last year. In 15th is Brandon Wallace with Cedarius Days. In 16th and 17th position goes to Charles Abert and Claire Sisk. 19th position is going to be Daniel Parks and Kevin Price starting in 20th, with Brock Price in the 43 alongside of Chuck Pegleg Feltz starting in 22nd. And rounding out our field tonight, shotgun that is, Noah Hoagie Hogard in the 158 starting in 23rd, as it looks like Tyler Justice has opted not to take the start. So 23 drivers scheduled to take the green flag tonight, 80 laps the scheduled distance, and with that 65% fuel load, Eddie, I think that's going to make for some interesting pit strategy on this mile and a half.
Yeah, we'll see. 80 laps, not that much. I mean, if we have some cautions, it could definitely throw a lot of wrenches in this race. And we're going to be paying attention to the final 8 drivers, obviously. But there's a lot that can happen. You want to win these races no matter if you're in the championship or not. So I'm glad to see a lot of people showing up tonight. But, yeah, I mean, 4 tire sets available. You're probably going to need all 4 of them, I would imagine. 2 green-white checkered attempts. Hopefully we don't use those. And that 65% fuel will play a factor in how all this race plays out towards the end of this thing.
Yeah, of course, having that fast repair as well, God forbid, bad things happen, especially, transitioning from turn 4 back to the front stretch, which we've seen turn into somewhat of a calamity corner over the years. You don't want to burn that too early, but you certainly want to make sure that you've got that in your pocket for when you need it. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out as we work our way through turn number 3 and 4. And right now, the iRacing.com pace car drops on down pit road. That means the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab your popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Green flag in the air, off we go on championship night. Mark Whitley with a good jump over the 85 of Jake Ham. They get started nice and early here. Whitley wanting to stay ahead of any of the mayhem that could be behind. The 46 of Sean Kaiser looks to the inside of the 85 of Jake Ham. And now as they lead their way down the back chute, it looks like, at least coming out of turn 4, it's going to be Mark Whitley getting credit for leading the first lap here at Kentucky. You can see Samuel Joseph leading the way for the AM drivers. He runs first for the AM drivers, but he's in 8th position overall. And Eddie, I know that I've talked about it many times over this season. 7th position seems to be about, 7th natural position at least, seems to be about that witching hour for those AM drivers.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Samuel Joseph, kind of talked about him in Goat Talk this past week about how he's very aggressive, has been he started iRacing just before this season started. So this is his first full season in any iRacing league at all. And he has progressed so much and that's why he sits in the Final Four tonight. But tonight it's all going to be about how can he manage his own aggressiveness, how hard he's going to push. He's got the speed, I think, to win this thing, but it's just whether or not he can keep it together, not get caught up in any mess, not, put himself in a bad position. And, I think he is going to be in the best shot. Then you've got the flip-flop. You've got Daniel Parks, who's now currently running in 16th, who I think has a very good shot at winning this championship, just for the opposite. Whereas he is sort of a laid-back driver, kind of takes his time, doesn't really push too hard early, but always seems to find himself at the end. So I think the AM championship is going to be the most exciting tonight. It's definitely the one we want to try to pay attention to the most, because it's going to continue to sort of change over this race, I do believe. Because right now, Samuel Yosef has that championship lead. As you see, Kyle Deering, though, takes the AM race lead.
Peeking a little bit further up in our standings, Joseph McWhorter is now side by side and backs off a little bit behind Jake Ellingson in a battle for third position. I'll tell you what, I talked about it in our race open, and McWhorter, he started back in sixth position and has already, like a hot knife through butter, cut his way up into the top five. He takes a little bit of a bump from Barrett Morton. Morton trying to get that number 9 machine up to the left side there on the low left corner of the 72, and now they go single file. So maybe it's time for Morton to regroup. But, if you give McWhorter a little bit too much room or too much time, I dare say, he's going to wind up finding a way to get around you. And right now it looks like he's analyzed what Ellingson had going on. He now peeks to the outside and makes the pass for third position as we get ready to haul things down. Oh, my.
A little bit of contact between Ellingson and McWhorter. Ellingson not rolling over, not a playoff driver, but says, hey, I'm going to take this spot. Track position here at Kentucky, super important, as McWhorter says, I'm going to drop down on your door then, and holds on to that outside line, but he's going to make a little bit of contact with the wall as behind him. They're going 3 wide as Logan Threlkeld sees his championship driving off, and he has got to make something happen, running him back here in 7th. Barrett Morton in 6th, and McWhorter now up to 3rd. They've got to get up there. Track position is going to mean a huge amount once the tires start to wear out. It's going to be hard to pass. So you better be making moves now like McWhorter is right now, going to the outside, or going to the inside, of Jake Ham, trying to take that second place away. But you see that outside line hold strong as here comes Ellingson now back to the outside.
Ellingson and McWhorter trying to battle it out and get up and around Jake Ham. Jake Ham has got to be shaking in his boots as he nearly takes the right front fender from the 72. Now McWhorter looks to the inside. He can waggle his fingers right through the window net as they haul things down into turn number 3. McWhorter with a good run on turn 3 entry. And now as they roll out of turn 4, Jake Ham holds McWhorter off. Here on lap number 9, he's now starting to draft up just behind Mark Whitley. He gets a great run through the front stretch. Jake Ham now fighting a war on 2 fronts, that is. He's got Joseph McWhorter on one side of him. He's got Mark Whitley on the other. He's got to decide, does he want to hold McWhorter off or chase down Whitley? And now he falls into the clutches of McWhorter, who looks to the inside. But I'll tell you what, it seems like Jake Ham has found a great groove here, especially getting in and out of turns 3 and 4, just a little bit above the low groove.
McWhorter showed his hand a little bit too early there with that outside line in 3 and 4. He made it work once and then twice, and then Jake Ham said, oh, okay, I see that. And now is starting to utilize it himself, and that's been a rubber band effect between these two drivers as they've been kind of swapped in that position. And Jake Ham's really been trying to make that outside line work to run down Mark Whitley. But it seems like 3 and 4, the outside line is getting a huge run like what you're seeing right here. But in 1 and 2, you just kind of lose the momentum as you have to maybe lift just a slight bit. You're going to see you get sort of right bumper or right to the back bumper, but nowhere to go. And it's going to leave the door open for McWhorter, but Ham going to slam the door off the corner, stop that momentum, and Ham going to hold on to second. But you can see just how much time he loses in 1 and 2, and then he gains it right back in 3 and 4. So interesting, Kentucky kind of showing why it's such an interesting track, something we were talking about at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, I mean, the shape of this track and the way that these drivers, especially in the ARCA cars, these ARCA cars have a great amount of grip here. especially under the lights. That asphalt, not real hot, so there's not a whole lot of slip sliding around. To me, this makes for some incredible championship driving right here in the Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA Series. Now it looks like Ham trying to chase down Mark Whitley. Once again, this is one of those situations where you have to wonder to yourself, what does Jake Ham want to do? I mean, he's got his hands full, trying to chase down Mark Whitley. You don't want to try to give up that checkered flag. And at the same time, you've got one of the most dominant drivers in this league right on your tailpipe in the form of Joseph McWhorter. So we work here on lap number 14 of 80 and getting another run coming down toward turn 3 is Jake Ham. We might have a new race leader by the time we get through this. Nope. Now he's got to hold off McWhorter, who takes a run to the outside. Jake Ham now trying to hold McWhorter off at the same time, nearly passing Mark Whitley as we cross the start-finish line for lap number 15.
Yeah, that outside is really dominant in 3 and 4. Passing down to the inside just seems like it's impossible. But you're starting to see the cream rise to the top. Jake Ham has been fast all season long, not the final 4, but you see Barrett Morton gets around Joseph McWhorter, and here comes Threlkel going to try that inside line. So all 4 of the championship 4 are inside the top 5. And you see Timothy Wilms, though, gassing it up on the outside of 3 and 4. And you can see if you try to make a move down to the inside 3 and 4, you are losing a ton of time, as Logan was trying to get side by side with McWhorter, but now is in the clutches of Timothy Wilms. So you have to keep the momentum up, and you have to be careful. That's what we were talking about at the end of the first part of the race. In 1 and 2, you're almost wide open. You're really pushing it. And in 3 and 4, you have to back it down and get back on the throttle. When you're on the inside, just can't do it when you got somebody on the outside because the car just wants to push out to the wall. You just see McWhorter making that contact. So the outside line just gives you a little bit more rotation off the corner. So making a pass on the inside of 3 and 4 looks so impossible right now. So what you want to do is get the run off the top side if you can, and then get down to the inside or outside, it doesn't matter, of 1 and 2. That's where you're going to want to make all your passes. And you can see right now, guys trying to figure that out, find out where that run is, how to make those moves. And you can see the inside of 3 and 4 is just not the place to do it.
Joseph McWhorter all over the rear bumper of the 9 of Barrett Morton. Now looks to the outside of Morton. He almost wound up giving him the chrome horn as they were coming down the front stretch. And now to the outside of Barrett Morton is Joseph McWhorter. He's got to be careful, though. If Morton gets just a little bit tight, he's going to wind up right in that left rear fender. Then at the same time, now McWhorter understands how to go. He gets loosened by the 9 just underneath him. Nearly loses it, but still manages to keep it pointed forward. We stay green here on lap number 19, the 72. Now leading the 30 of Logan Threlkeld and the 27 of Jacob Ellingson, with Barrett Morton in the mix, now sliding behind Threlkeld. I always get a little frustrated when you hear this on race radio, oh, I'm a playoff driver, let me through. No, these guys, even the ones that are non-playoff drivers, they're right here in the mix of things. I mean, Jake Ham might not be a playoff driver, but he's earned the right to be in this neck of the woods here in the 85 machine, up atop the pile, just behind Mark Whitley. I mean, right now he's only, a little less than a full second here, about 13/10 of a second, nearly 2/10 behind our race leaders. So this is quite a battle from start to finish. We take a look back here at Samuel Joseph in the 65, and I mean, even he running here in and around 10th position. These AM drivers all season long have been incredible to watch, especially, as they've developed and gotten a little bit better as they put their sights on being in the pro division next year. Samuel Joseph just behind Sean Kaiser, but that top 9 all pro drivers, and nearly getting ready to go side by side is the 86 of Timothy Wilmus and Jake Ellingson in the 27.
Yeah, an update on the amateur championship as they run. Samuel Joseph holds the lead of the amateur race and also of the championship 4. And this is where he's got to make those good decisions. And he sees on the back bumper of Sean Kaiser, he doesn't have to push the issue. He's got a good buffer all the way back to Charles Aber, who is second in the championship 4. He is all the way back in 16th. So 6 positions back, and then Daniel Parks is back in 18th. And then you have to go all the way back by himself. Nobody around. Zedarius Days, is out here running laps solo back here in the back of the field. So Not a great start for Days, but Samuel Joseph in sort of a cluster, you know what, and just got to make the right calls, make the right decisions here. But that's how they run. Up front, Mark Whitley enjoying all this battling that's been going on behind him. He's saved a little bit of tire. He's got the clean air. He's got a really, really good advantage, but we know this ARCA car has a really good draft, and these guys are able to stay with him. And so I don't think he's going to be able to pull away even with a little bit of tire saving. So right now, though, I haven't seen Ham be able to make a pass just yet. He's been close, but he may be able to try to get it done here. But looks like Ham's sort of making it easy right now. But Whitley not going to give up that lead. I can tell you right now, giving up the lead here would just put a real big question mark on Whitley's chances to win this championship. But it's going to put him right back in this.
You know, it makes me wonder if Jake Ham knows something, if he's just kind of testing these waters out, making sure that he knows how to get around Mark Whitley. Maybe he's, trying to be like that lion there in the African jungle, just waiting to pounce on the gazelle, as Jake Ham has kind of been lurking around Mark Whitley. But nearly catching a charge is Joseph McWhorter, who's just been harassing Jake Ham all night. As now he gets to the inside, they nearly go door handle to door handle as they haul things down the back chute. Joseph McWhorter once again looking to see if he can get around Jake Ham. And the one thing that I'll say is that Joseph McWhorter, and I don't know him personally, but what I've seen all season long is that as he starts to follow some of these guys, eventually he just gets frustrated, floors it, and finds a way to get around, especially when he knows that he is such a strong driver. And it's what put him in the playoffs. It's what got him into this position here in championship night in the Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA Series right here on V-Speed. Want to thank everybody for welcoming us in as we have got a great one for you tonight. Lap number 26 at Kentucky Speedway. Eddie Smith, I mean, this is one of those times where you look and you talk about the cream rising to the top, but wow, it makes it look like we really know what we're talking about when we see this kind of competition.
Yeah, I'm watching these guys, and, I'd like to think that Ham would like to get out front and take the lead, but I'm watching, and right now, Ham, in the way these cars are so close, that if he tries to make a move down to the inside, especially in 3 and 4, you can see he's just not willing to do it. He had a nice run there and chose to stay on the outside because we've already seen it a couple times. You go down to the inside, you don't make the pass, you're going to lose 2, maybe 3 spots. So I feel like you're right. Ham just biding his time, just not knowing what to do here, how to get around that 74 without losing a ton of spots. I mean, ideally, you would ride in line and you guys kind of put some space between you and your competition so you have a chance to fight it out, but it just hasn't happened that way. Yeah, I mean, McWhorter's right there, and Ham, you can see, just not willing to take, the run that he's getting down the back straightaway. And you can see he stays on the high side protecting that second-place position, and you can see the run that he's getting off the corner. So right now, it's tires are wearing out, 28 laps on those set of tires. They're starting to fade pretty fast, but there's just no way to make a move unless you can get to the outside. So I'll be curious to see if McWhorter can try to make a pass here or anybody up here in the top 5, because it looks like it is really, really difficult right now.
Yeah, you can pretty much throw a blanket over this top 5. I mean, from Whitley back to Threlkeld, they've all kind of found their groove. The only driver that's even the least bit itchy right now is Joseph McWhorter, and quite honestly, I don't blame him. He doesn't have another chance, and you can't. A rub of the wall from the 85. Woof. That might have cost him just the kind of momentum that it's going to take to get around here. That does open the door, and look, oh wow, nearly shoving him down the backstretch is Joseph McWhorter, who now gives him a nudge into turn 3. He almost tried to loosen him like a jar. My goodness, he's got to be careful here as they roll out of turn 4 back to the front stretch. But, the only driver that's really getting itchy right now is Joseph McWhorter, and I'm watching him kind of lurk around. And, I mean, if I was Jake Ham, if I was Mark Whitley, I'd be worried that McWhorter is right behind me.
I think these guys are just trying to figure out how to pass and working their way through these laps. I mean, laps are going to click down fast. We haven't had a caution just yet. It's been green all the way, just the way we expect it on a championship night. And these guys kicking butt. As McWhorter, right as I say it, McWhorter's going to get into the wall, and that is a surefire way to lose some time. Now, you can see even with a little bit of wall contact, still not enough to lose a position And you've got to figure this out. That's what McWhorter is going to have to do to get back up here. That's what Barrett Morton and Logan Threlkeld, they're going to have to workshop some stuff here and figure out, how do I get to the outside of somebody in 3 and 4? Because that's the only way I've seen someone able to pass here. So, you better be figuring it out soon. As we've got pit stops rolling, we got Jacob Ellingson come down pit road, Timothy Williams. You got championship in the AM, championship 4 driver in the AM division, Charles Abert, already coming down pit road along with Jamie Lipke. So pit stops here early here on lap 33. They should be able to make it to the end. What do you think about this little pit stop? They're trying a little undercut here to get some track position.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a track position move. You know that you're going to have enough time to
Whitley.
make up that distance as Whitley's going to come down. And I got to be honest, I'm usually one of those drivers that thinks, all right, once the leader comes down, that's when I will. And now Mark Whitley, one of our championship 4 drivers, he decides to drop it on down as Jake Ellingson and Timothy Wilmus come off of pit road. So these are the early pitters. I mean, we're not quite at the halfway point in this race, but now it cycles Jake Ham up to the lead. He's got nothing to do but log laps and look out the rearview mirror at Joseph McWhorter.
Well, I think Whitley knew what he was doing coming down pit road when he did. This is, I think most of the time the overcut is the right call, but I think with it being so hard to pass and how the fall off is not been that much, about maybe less than a second of fall off, the undercut is absolutely the right call for Mark Whitley to maintain that lead, because if you end up staying out too long and these guys undercut you, it's not going to make a difference. You're not going to be able to get back into the lead. So I like this call from Whitley. You're staying out any further. You can see these guys not willing to do that. Yeah, right now it's all about just making sure you don't make any mistakes.
Ooh.
As McWhorter, hard on the brakes, gets a little bit sideways. Logan Threlkeld did as well. And you know what I like seeing here, Dave, is I love to see Samuel Joseph mirroring these pro drivers. He's playing such a fun game for the amateur win. He's got the speed to stay up with him. Joseph McWhorter
gets
goes
turned around.
We can't see him
on
because
pit
for some
road.
reason the cameraman needs to be fired, but McWhorter goes around. That's one of the mistakes that I was just talking about. You don't want to do that here under green flag.
Nope, that is going to cost him so much time. I mean, even the 65 gets around him. My goodness, what a development now as McWhorter has to be angrier than a hornet coming off of pit road. Let's look at the
actually
instant
contact
replay.
with the 71 of
With the 71.
Daniel Parks, yeah. Parks coming out of pit road and McWhorter coming in. We see this in real life NASCAR all the time, and McWhorter, unfortunately, that's his fault. You got to watch out for the other driver. Yeah, you got to just slow down.
I'm looking at that, and I thought about it when I was watching it in real time, and I almost wonder if he thought that was kind of the iRacing, you turn into a ghost a little bit on pit road. It's almost like he thought that's what was happening, but it didn't. As now we take a look here at McWhorter, who's trying to run around and get caught back up, but this buries McWhorter back here in the 16th position.
Yeah.
Oh, that has got to taste like a crap sandwich. As Mark Whitley resumes the lead, he comes back up here. A great night for Whitley. Sometimes you got to throw that no-hitter to get the win. And, obviously for McWhorter, he's got that issue now. Mark Whitley, though, leading here on lap number 38, approaching halfway in this piece. Jake Ham running in P2. Jake Ellingson in third. Logan Threlkeld and Timothy Wilmus. They make up your overall top 5. Samuel Joseph, he runs in 8th position with the 65. He leads your AM drivers with Alan Smith, Jamie Lipke, Kyle Deering, and Charles Abert, your AM top 5. We take a look at Samuel Joseph, totally focused on it. I feel like every time we do peek in his cockpit that he is like not blink. You got to blink. It's either that or, maybe something's wrong. I don't know. He's never blinking. He's always totally focused. Logan Threlkeld just laid fast time down at 30.51 seconds.
Well, he
and
spun
now
out
going
last
side
night.
by side.
He spun out last night, and he was giggling. So Samuel Joseph, he's all focused when he's driving, but if he has a wreck, he seems to find some hilarity in it. But right now, we were talking about this right before that 72 went around. but Samuel Joseph mirroring what the pro drivers are doing what they're doing, and staying on that same strategy, and it is working out to perfection. Halfway home, Samuel Joseph has a massive 3-second lead over Charles Abert, who's running in ninth. Overall AM leader, Charles Abert running back in 14th. So Joseph in a great spot right now. Mark Whitley in a great spot. 2-second lead over Logan Threlkeld. So right now, if it stays green, the championship is looking like it's already kind of settled out, especially with Nick Warder having the issues that he had. These guys right now just going, okay, let's log laps. Please no cautions.
Now let's just hope that you didn't just lower the broadcaster's curse boom. You better knock on wood and everything else you got. But, and you're right. Mark Whitley doesn't want to see anything bad happen. We look deeper in the field right now. And, I mean, at least here in and around the 86 of Timothy Wilms, he's trying to get up here to Barrett Morton just to make the pass. I mean, he's not in the playoffs per se, but, still, you got to make a statement here in the last race of the season. And, I mean, here in season 4, I was fortunate enough to be around for season 3. These drivers I've watched develop over the last 2 seasons that I've been associated here, plus the summer series. And, I mean, wow. Just seeing the way that they work around one another and of course, race around one another has been an incredible development. And I think it's something that, our race directors really need to tip their cap to and be recognized for.
I can tell you one thing. Do not put Kentucky on the schedule next season. That's one thing I know right now. The passing is impossible. It has been a nightmare for these guys to make passes. And honestly, this feels like a F1 race, Dave. It feels like whoever won qualifying was going to win the race, because Whitley has yet to be challenged and now has a 1.3 second lead. Now, these two are kind of running him down just a little bit. They do have 2 lap pressure tires, and I will say here at Kentucky, in 1 and 2, you can almost go flat out on a fresh set of tires. So as Whitley falls off his plateau of tires and has to start lifting a little bit more, these guys will catch up a little bit. Now, can they catch that draft? That will be the big kicker, and right now Logan is just praying that that's the case. Now, one mistake that Logan can't do if he wants to stay in this championship hunt is if they are able to run down Whitley. In last lap, they all ran the same exact lap time. But Logan does not need to get up here and race around J Cam. They need to try to work together, and if it's possible, get back up to Whitley, because right now Whitley is kind of in no man's land, and if they can't get to him, this thing's over. So, yeah, kind of funny how this race turned out. It's all whoever started on the lead of each division, and then, hey, whoever came out of pit road first, and that's it. So, interesting development.
Yeah, especially when you look at the way that those pit stops went just a few moments ago during this cycle. I mean, the biggest mover of this race is Logan Threlkeld, who runs in 3rd position right now. He's up 10 spots after qualifying in 13th. There were a lot of smart decisions that he made tonight, and, he's been very patient. I mean, we see some drivers that get a little aggressive, maybe a little overzealous, but Threlkeld has quietly moved up 10 spots. Some of the other big movers tonight, Brandon Wallace in the 99, running in 9th position overall. Right now, he's just behind Sean Kaiser in the 46. They're pretty close to one another, and Samuel Joseph looking on from behind. And, I got to believe that, Samuel Joseph, especially leading, the AM drivers right now ahead of Alan Smith and Jamie Libke and Charles Abert, has to be thinking this is the smart decision. But Logan Threlkeld just behind the 85 of Jake Ham. I do agree with you, Eddie. They've got to think about working together to try to close the gap on Mark Whitley. I mean, right now, Whitley has quietly extended his lead to 1.25 seconds. And when you were talking about just a moment ago, is just under 1.2 seconds. So he's quietly growing it, but they've really got to stick together and teamwork this. You can duke it out once you get there, but for now, they've got to be partners.
Yeah, last lap, Logan Threlkeld was about a tenth faster than Mark Whitley. J Cam a little bit slower. Threlkeld obviously getting a huge draft here, but this is the decision that Logan's got to make, and it's a tough one because Ham is not the type of person that's just going to move over and let you have it, just because you're in the playoffs. He's going to fight for that second position. So Logan's got to make the call of like, okay, do I push here. We are faster. You know, that time by they were a tenth faster than Whitley. And so do I push it and knowing that Ham is going to fight me for it, or do I just ride back here, hope that we catch up, and then have a shot if Ham can get up there and start to make some headway with Whitley? So it's a tough decision. Yeah, there's no right answer. And even if you guys do catch up to Whitley, we've seen there's no guarantee you'll be able to get around him. So, Whitley now going to have to be fighting with some lap traffic. That could play a little factor. He's hitting the wall. That could also be a huge factor. So, there's a lot that can still happen in this race. We've seen too much racing this season to say it's over. But all of the ingredients are just right for Whitley and Joseph right now. If it stays green, I don't think that anybody has a shot. McWhorter being buried now with that mistake on pit road, he's completely out of it. There's nothing he can do. And Logan Threlkeld, while still running a little bit faster, they are catching him a little bit. And we'll see once Whitley gets to the back bumper of this driver if it kind of slows him up just a bit. But right now, Logan Threlkeld really the only person able to maybe take a shot at a championship driver. So a lot of racing is still left to go. But, man, it sure does look like it is settled. And that's a really bad spot to catch a lap for.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage in the race with less than 30 to go, a lot of these guys, they've got to understand, hey, this is my bed. Now I've got to lay in it. Falling now, starting to close that gap just a piece here is Jake Ham. I mean, I know that we were looking at it just a moment ago, but Jake Ham was back by about 1.25 seconds. He's now closed that gap to Mark Whitley and is now less than a second behind Mark Whitley. I realize that sounds like a lot of time, but the amount of work that it's taken for him to get up there is, to me, incredible. As we work here on lap number 54, we take a look here at the 85, getting around some lap traffic. That's the 12 that he's working around. That's Claire Sisk. And, Claire was an incredible driver all season. For lack of a better term, sometimes bad things happen to good people, and she's been incredible all season. But, bad things happening at the wrong time is now they've got to work around Kevin Price. Price goes high, then the 85 of Ham goes low, and he's going to bring along Threlkeld, who has to adjust his line just barely to get around.
I'll tell you, Dave, the last lap where Mark Whitley caught that driver off of turn 4, it changed maybe the end of this race. That one little thing. Because Ham and Threlkeld caught them in turn 1 and 2, which is not near as important as the exit of 4 here. And that has allowed Ham to get within draft range. I mean, they're 7/10 behind. That about 1 to 1.1 is where the draft starts to play a little bit of a factor. So they are getting a little bit of draft help here. So, can they deal with the dirty air? Will the dirty air be a factor in 3 and 4? Can they overcome that? Maybe start working a little bit higher, and you can see Ham's kind of a lane up on entry and all the way through the corner trying to make it happen. And right now, down to 0.6 of a second as they come off of turn 4, Dave. I think we're going to have a race for the lead before this thing is over with.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, once you hit that 0.7 of a second, that's when the draft really starts to grab a hold of these cars. As we work here on lap number 57.
Big development, Dave. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Barrett Morton comes down pit road, and he black flagged. So another pro driver with some pit road issues. Yeah. Black flag, and I do believe it was for speeding. We'll back it up a little bit and see the entry again and see if he got the commitment cone or what happened. So they may have to make another pit stop, Dave. We hadn't really talked about that. But coming down pit road, everything's clean, and he just speeds.
Yeah, you can see the front end of that. Yeah, you can see the front end of that car bobbling around. He was trying to get it woed down, but just couldn't do it enough. Whitley, I thought he was lining up to try to do the same thing and maybe come down pit road. He stays out for the time being. I thought this was going to be just a one-stop race, but now with 22 to go, it appears that this is a two-stop race with Mark Whitley leading the way, Jake Ham running in P2, and Logan Threlkeld still in third position. We've talked about it so many times tonight that, passing here, it's not impossible, but it's certainly, easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is to pass at Kentucky. And now also coming down pit road is Charles Abert in lucky number 7, as he's going to haul it pit side. Takes a few moments here as he's going to get nice and relaxed. You can see that car now starting to, and here comes Threlkeld. Santa Claus is coming to town as Threlkeld comes down. So this is one more way to shuffle the deck before we see the end of Season 4 of the Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA Series.
Here comes Whitley.
And here comes Whitley. He's got to make this just perfect, and he does. I think that was a clean entry. I was watching his speed, and I think he's going to make the better entry here.
Well, Logan Threlkeld comes down a lap or two. Oh, no. Logan, okay, yeah, he comes out of pit road. So he came in a lap or two before Whitley, so that means he'll have those fresh tires, and he was only less than a second back from Whitley. So this is going to be a big development here as he comes down early. Can he make up the difference right here? He's going to have a really good outlap here, and he might be able to jump over Whitley. We're going to find out. Whitley coming off of pit road now. Does he have enough to make that move around him?
Yeah, I mean, with 19 laps to go, this is really where, you find out whether or not the men or the goat's scared as we work here.
Well, it ain't going to happen, Dave. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm looking at the list now. 42.5 on pit lane for Logan Threlkeld. Mark Whitley, a championship winning 38.2 because he takes 2 tires, Dave. 2 tires to go for a championship. Logan Threlkeld on 4. We got a race, baby. We're going to find out how good 2 tires really is, and can Logan Threlkeld make up the difference in about 18 laps.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, right now, Jake Ellingson has yet to come down, Timothy Wilmus, but, these other drivers, I mean, Whitley and Threlkeld, the last 2 drivers who haven't had any issues so far, so they're going to have quite a battle as Kevin Price decides to come on down. Samuel Joseph still leading things, at least overall, for the Amdrive. No, where did Joseph go? I just lost him here. I don't see him.
Samuel Joseph just made his pit stop, and he takes what looks like fuel only, no tires for Samuel Joseph. And it looks like Daniel Parks, Sedarius Days, they are attempting to try to catch a caution here, because that could definitely change their championship hopes here, as we got a battle for the overall lead. First time tonight. Ellingson with the lead. Wilms trying to get it. And they trade the position back and forth as we got a battle for the lead. But, yeah, it looks like Daniel Parks, Darius Day is trying to stay out as long as they can and hope for a caution. They are the last 2 drivers on the lead lap. If they do get that caution, that would flip the amateur championship, as Samuel Joseph comes down and takes fuel only. So a lot going on right now, Dave. A lot can happen. If a caution comes out, boy, it'll change everything.
It really will. And right now, Mark Whitley trying to get that lap back the old-fashioned way. As on those 2 tires, he's working his way around Jake Ellingson and Timothy Wilmus. They haven't been down since lap 32 for each of them. And now Mark Whitley, running in 8th position, has to drive through a whole bunch of other drivers who have all not been down since the 30s, as we work here on lap number 67. The night just fading away, the season in its twilight with 14 laps to go here at Kentucky Speedway. Dave Regal and Eddie Smith with you here in the V-Speed broadcast booth, as it's championship night in the Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA Series. Jake Ellingson now overall leading the way. Kyle Deering ahead of everyone on the AM side. Dave Calvert, Noah Hoagie Hogard, and of course none other than the 71 of Daniel Parks running in 4th, and Sedarius Days in 5th for the AM drivers. Pretty interesting development here. I mean, we've seen a couple of things happen, bad things happen on pit road, as Timothy Wilmus brings it pit side. He's going to give up that position. Jake Ellingson now takes over the race lead. I feel like it's only a matter of time, Eddie, until everybody, decides, hey, listen, that caution's not coming. Enough is enough. I got to come down and get service.
Yeah, and I'm watching the lap times of Whitley and Threlkeld, and right now Whitley I mean, a couple laps ago ran almost his fastest lap of the race on 2 tires. So seems like he's got plenty of speed. And Logan Threlkeld actually a little bit slower than Whitley. So not maybe the silver bullet that I thought it would be. But, I mean, there's still 10 laps to go. A lot can happen. But right now, Logan Threlkeld about 5 seconds back from your leader as everybody's making pit stops. You can see Logan really pushing the exit of 4. So I wondered if 4 tires is going to make a huge difference. Is it going to make a big deal? Right now, looks like it may have been the wrong call for Logan because Whitley still running faster lap times on 2 tires versus 4.
Yeah, Mark Whitley is a name that we have called dozens of times this season, especially, being one of the more dominant drivers. And we talk about other dominant drivers in this league. And, the 72 of Joseph McWhorter buried deep in the field. And, after that mishap on pit road, now on the recovery drive and just not enough time with now 10 laps to go. Mark Whitley following Noah Hoagie Hogard as he's going to come down pit road. That's going to cycle Mark Whitley back to the race lead. So with that, it officially does close the book on those green flag pit stops. And, I still think, even though that there's a few drivers who were hoping for the caution to come out, it really does scream, great driving to all of these guys and gals out on the racetrack tonight, getting it done safely and smartly on the racetrack. 10 laps to go left in this season. Mark Whitley takes over the race lead. He's got Jake Ham about 0.6 of a second behind him. That also begs the question, is Jake Ham close enough to disrupt that lead that Mark Whitley has led?
Well, let's talk about the amateur. The pro side looks like it's pretty much wrapped up. Whitley just got to make 8 laps, assuming it stays green. But currently, at the moment, pit stops have cycled out, and Alan Smith currently leads the amateur division. Jamie Lipke runs second, and right now, this is your battle for the amateur championship. So while the pro the overall win might be heating up here soon, we got to pay attention to this because Joseph came down pit road 11 laps ago, Abert 13 laps ago, and we've got a battle for the amateur championship. They have not been close to each other all night. Here comes the 7 of Abert all over the back bumper of Joseph, and this is a championship. You got to get it done right here.
This is an interesting development. I mean, sometimes I think these drivers wait for just the right.
Dave.
Here he goes. He goes to the high side. He looks just on that upper fender here, and now all of a sudden, the 7 of Charles Abert challenging Samuel Joseph with 7 laps to go. The 7 gets in front of the 65 of Samuel Joseph, and now Joseph is going to have to play catch up while Charles
Joseph
Abert.
at the wall.
And all of a sudden, Joseph rubs that safer barrier and allows Charles Abert from High Velocity Sim Racing to start to scurry away from him as he's behind the lap car now of Kevin Price.
A big slam to the steering wheel for Joseph as he is frustrated as all get out. Here is the difference, Dave. Charles Abert came down 15 laps ago, took 4 tires. Samuel Joseph comes down pit road, takes no tires. So Abert, the sort of flip-flop, but Joseph making the mistake that we talked about at the beginning. He's fast. He's got all the speed. He's doing everything right, and then comes down and makes just one small mistake of not putting on any tires. And Abert now running away with the amateur division champion. He's 4th overall. Alan Smith currently leads the amateur race, but Charles Abert now leads the championship. And all with 5 to go, we've got a completely different race on the AM side. And then, oh, by the way, up front, Jake Ham has now closed it in by 0.3 of a second.
We've seen this time and time again. Sometimes people just wait until the very last moment. Abert now starts to scurry away from the 65, but this battle for the lead could turn out to be fireworks at the end. 4 laps to go here at Kentucky Speedway. And I got to be honest, I didn't have this on my bingo card coming into this tonight. While all of that's going on, Alan Smith takes over the lead for the AM drivers. Mark Whitley leading overall. Of course, Jake Ham starting to close in. It's about to be 3 laps to go, and it's anybody's race. here at Kentucky Speedway in the Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA Series. It's championship night, and this is what championships are made of. Watch the 85 of Jake Ham. He starts to close in on that rear bumper of the 74, and now the 74 may be starting to sweat a little bit with 3 laps to go.
I can't believe it. It's so interesting to see that 2 tires was the right call. 4 tires was not the right call unless your competition takes no tires, which is what Samuel Joseph did. And so Aber able to drive away, but these guys up here racing their guts off with 2 tires, and then Alan Smith also taking 2. He leads the amateur, so 2 tires was the right call. Definitely able to keep it going with those left sides. Must not be wearing out much at all. Those rights incredibly important. So it's so crazy to see the pit strategy kind of change everything. Thank God, because we haven't had a caution all night to kind of flip anything going. But right now, Ham going to close up. But we're coming to the white flag, Dave. This season almost over.
As they cross the start-finish line, the white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. And I'll tell you what, as we watch the twilight of this season, I mean, Mark Whitley just putting the perfect punctuation on the end as he's being followed by Jake Ham. Jake Ham kind of thinking to himself, I'd rather sit here and finish second than wreck. He knows that he's not going to have a chance to get around Whitley, but Mark Whitley with a dominant finish tonight, all of a sudden getting ready to hoist that championship trophy. He rolls out of turn 4, crosses the start-finish line, and Mark Whitley is your Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA Series Pro Champion. We look further back, and here comes Alan Smith rolling out of turn 4.
Get out of the way. Alan Smith going to win the amateur race, and then right behind him, here he comes, your amateur champion. Look at him, Charles Aber. Does he know? I think he does. Charles Aber, he's going to be your amateur champion in the fall series. Woo!
Wow. Charles Aber, I've never seen him smile like that one. Wow. What a finish, Eddie. This is incredible. What an amazing finish for season 4.
Fireworks going off in the background. Charles Aber makes the call. I mean, Samuel Joseph, obviously so frustrated, but man, look at this. What a great call by Charles Aber. We were talking about who might come away. We talked about Daniel Parks may come out of here and get the championship sneaking up on him, but it turns out it was Charles Aber who gets it done in that next level racing rig, and you see them, they're all burning it down right now. Your pro race winner and champion Mark Whitley burning it down. Alan Smith, your amateur race winner, and Charles Aber. Look at him! Look at him! Throwing his hands up in the air. He has done it.
It's just starting to settle in now. He's looking around. I mean, sometimes it feels like, I don't know if this season's ever going to end. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. Wow.
Cannot wait.
What a finish. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen anybody so happy.
Man, Alan Smith, though, he's given the landscaping guys something to think about. He has done a ton of donuts and celebrating this win. Not going to get a championship this season. He is the defending amateur champion, but gets the win here tonight. And what a way to end a season. If you're not going to race for a championship, why not just win the race? And what a great call. Can't wait to talk to all these drivers. Dave, what do you think we take a little small break and we'll come back and kind of get all this situated and see who we're going to talk to?
Sounds like a plan to me. We'll be right back after we pay some bills.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Back to the Glove Station ARCA Series live here on V Speed. It's the end of season 4 as the ARCA Series just came to a close with some incredible racing. Mark Whitley brought home the checkered flag for our pro side. He was followed by Jake Ham, Logan Threlkeld, Timothy Wilmus, Sean Kaiser, George Jewell, Jake Ellingson, Joseph McWhorter, Brandon Wallace, and Barrett Morton. That's your top 10 on the pro side. Wrapping up the rest of your pro drivers should be finishing in 11th as we wait to rotate that. Just kidding. Is Tyler Justice. There he is in the 33, and Justice never took that start tonight anyway. On the AM side, Eddie, I mean, you know, it's been an incredible season for all of these drivers, but Alan Smith, once again, Pops decides he's going to pick up the AM checkered flag last race of the season. He's followed by Jamie Libke, Brock Price, Charles Zabert, Samuel Joseph, Dave Calvert Sr., Noah Hoagie Hogard, Sedarius Days, Daniel Parks, Kevin Price. That's your top 10. And the best of the rest here on the AM side. In 11th position is Kyle Deering. Claire Sisk comes home in 12th. And Chuck Pegleg Feltz brings home 12th position on the AM side. But getting things started, it's time to talk to our champions for season number 4. Mark Whitley, first fish in the barrel. Hey, Mark, it's Dave up at the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Buddy, listen, congratulations on the season 4 pro championship. What a great night. I mean, and you were dominant all night. Take us through it. And how do you find yourself right here after leading 66 of 80 laps?
Yeah, that's I wasn't expecting it. We had some trouble here in the summer series, so I was a little worried coming in, and thankfully we're able to qualify on pole, stay up front. Seemed like the draft played a really big effect with people just getting the draft down the straightaways, and but it seemed like it was kind of hurting with the like dirty air and traffic. So I just wanted to stay out front. Thankfully, it went green. We got to the first green flag pit stops, and I hit it pretty good. I think a couple of I think Joe had issues on pit road, and it just kind of got really strung out. And I was able to just, it seemed like those guys could catch me on the very, very tail end of the run. Like we're just, maybe a tenth faster, but I had enough of a lead there, and I pitted again. And I told Brantley, my spotter, like probably halfway through the second run, I'm like, all right, I'm going to want right side tires and just enough fuel to make it, because the car was just so tight, and I figured it would, making the pit stop shorter help us get a little bit of a lead. And I figured the right sides would help it rotate, and it really did. Once we came out that last run, just the two tires thing came alive. I felt like I was running my fastest laps of the race with two tires. I think Logan took 4, and he was kind of far back there, and it was just at that point it's just logging laps. Hopefully the caution didn't come out, and I even told my spotter, I said, if Jake gets to me, I'm just gonna let him have it, because I don't even want to try to race or anything right now. So if he gets to me, I'm just gonna let him go. But he never really got to me, and we just able to cruise there at the end, and about a I don't want to say easy, but clear sailing and no issues we had. That's the probably best race we had all year with no incidents.
Yeah, I mean, at least from my position up here in the catbird seat, I mean, it was one of the best races that I've seen in the last couple of seasons. I mean, flag to flag, no yellow, you know, basically 40 minutes to get all of those 80 laps in. And, the mistakes that were made didn't affect anybody except for those that made those mistakes, pit road things and so on and so forth. But you drove yourself a perfect race, had an incredible season, and a dominant season, between yourself and a couple of your other drivers. It's been so much fun to watch you all year long. So, congratulations on the championship. Before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done on the 74 team?
Oh yeah, big shout out all the league sponsors here that without them the league wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be here. So Lincoln Tech, Save 22, Invets, you guys at V Speed for doing all the broadcasts, Glove Station. It's just one of those things. I'm glad to be a part of it. It's just a really good league, really great guys, really great cause. I'm glad to be here. My personal sponsor is Brantley over there, Harpoon Design. He designs my paints. I've been running the same one for a while, but it looks really sharp. So you need to check out. You need to get a new paint scheme made. Just check them out at harpoondesign.com just in time for the holidays. And another thing, just in time for the holidays, my other sponsor, Jawa.gg, they're the number one online gaming marketplace. If you need a new upgrade or if you need a whole new rig, they got you covered, especially here for Christmas. Maybe Santa will bring you Jawa.gg PC under the Christmas tree. All the guys tuning in these broadcasted races at home with you guys on V Speed broadcasting it. Daryl, Vector, all my guys that like to watch these races. I appreciate them. My shout out to my teammate Joe. I know he didn't have the race he wanted. I think he had some trouble on pit road. I know it sucks for him because he's a really tough competitor and one of the better guys out there. So maybe just one of those things. Racing every now and then. You're the nail and sometimes you're the hammer. And I guess tonight he was just the nail. But thankfully we're able to pull out on top. And congrats to all the AM guys in the AM championship. I believe it was Charles that won that, right?
Yeah, Charles picked up the AM championship, so another
Congrats to
great,
him, and
great night for him.
congrats to the whole field. Hell of a night tonight. Showing what we can do. All green flag, wire to wire. It's pretty good, and can't wait to go back and watch and see how the rest of the field, how the AM championship turned out.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations once again on the race win tonight, and of course on that championship here on the pro division in the Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA Series. Congrats, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And next, but certainly one of the most excited I've ever heard Eddie Smith to interview somebody is should be coming up now. Driver of the number 7, Charles Abert, and Eddie, I think you have him now.
Well, I had him, and I'm trying to grab him in here. There he is, Charles Avert. This Eddie in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do, Eddie.
Man, congratulations. Unbelievable race, and you are the story of the race for sure. I think anybody with eyeballs, and I don't think you'll disagree with this at all, comes into this race. Samuel Joseph has shown the speed all season long that he was the man to beat. Now, that's why we race, though. That's why we race, because it doesn't matter who's the best on paper. It's who's the best when it matters. And you made the call of the century to come down and take 4 tires on that last pit stop. Samuel Joseph takes none, and that was the difference. First off, before you jump into the race, how does it feel, man? Congratulations. How does it feel to be the 2025 Spring Series Glove Station ARCA Amateur Division Champion? Good Lord, it's a mouthful.
Hell yeah, it's awesome, man. It is awesome, and it's accomplishment, yes. And man, I hate okay, I didn't say I hate it, but Samuel and I were on Discord. We were talking, and 10 laps to go, and I said, let's give him a show, and we were nose to tail, and I went outside on one turn, and next thing I know, he was falling behind. He said he just drove it in too hard. So, but like you say, you stay in it to win it.
Yeah, and it was a struggle all race. It seemed like it was hard to pass out there. Kind of talk a little bit about that. You were kind of running sort of deep in the field for a while. Kind of what was the feeling out there for you?
I was trying not to overdrive it and save tires as much as it could. Was staying up, and then there was some distance in between the first and second pack, and I was trying to we were trying to let people race while they could, and yeah, it was difficult to pass, and just one of those things: do you pass or do you save tires? So just I just tried to pick and choose, and it seemed to work out for the best.
Well, what was the decision there? I mean, we had some guys like Mark Whitley, J Cam, other guys took two tires on that final stop. Only just a few laps left. You just needed to get some fuel. You weren't going to make the fuel, but the tires was the big decision making. The two tires was the right call. Samuel Joseph took no tires. What was the decision there for you to take four?
I wanted to be set up in case there was a caution, and I knew that I had not much to lose, being back as far as I was, or at least from Samuel, and I knew I could make up that time if he had no tires and something happened. So it was one of those that it was. I rolled the dice, and it panned out. So I guess Vegas, I come.
Yeah, I mean, he saved about 8 seconds on pit road due to taking no tires versus the four tires. However, you were about 2 seconds faster on pit lane, so you actually gained a little bit of time on him getting on and off pit road, which also made a huge difference in you being able to run him down. So, incredible race, incredible finish there to the end. You AM drivers make this series the best. And tonight, you get to be put on display. You're on the top of the mountain, brother, and you are the champion. Congratulations. Fantastic season. You had to make it to the Final Four to even have a shot. You made it there with a great season, and you made the right call when it counted. And now, until next spring, you are the champion. So, congratulations, Abert. Go celebrate. Enjoy this one. You deserved it, but got to give you the floor. Who do you got to thank?
Oh man, I thank Lincoln Tech, Save 22, and Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, and our sponsor for the ARCA series. A big shout out to Glove Station. Have a few sets of theirs and wear it all the time when I'm out working. They've been a great sponsor for us. I want to thank I want to thank my wife for letting me do this. She says it keeps the peace. So, and I also want to thank GLR, an awesome family, and my AM drivers. We support each other, and that's nothing but respect, and I appreciate it. So it's what makes us awesome.
Well, all right, there it is. Your 2025 Fall Series Glove Station ARCA Series Amateur Division Champion. You put that on a trophy, dadgummit. Charles Abert, congratulations, man.
Thanks, Eddie.
All right, well, Dave, you're caught up with our amateur race winner, Alan Smith.
And there's Papa Smith. Listen, man, I asked Eddie while we were still at commercial, do you save that big win for the last race of the season?
Man, I tell you what, after I didn't make the championship four, I was so disappointed. I had a couple of bad races there. Just that's just the way the ball bounces. But I told my wife and I told my mom. I said, look, my goal is just go out there and win those races. And so qualifying was really important tonight. And being that the race went green, and so I was glad to get up there and run with those guys. Joseph was in front of me for a while, and I was giving him room. I wanted to make sure I didn't get too close there and cause him any problems and stuff. And so, man, my teammates, I paid attention to kind of what they were doing and what they were saying, and they helped me out. We took the two tires, and it was the right call to win the race. So I'm just tickled to get up there and win the race. And talk to you, Dave.
Yeah, man. Listen, I was excited to talk to you too. I mean, especially when I see somebody take two tires. Like, listen, I'm a scaredy cat. I gotta have four tires. I can't afford to see what happens if I only take two. And what I saw you do tonight, especially to loosen up that car and get her to rotate a little bit better, especially deep in this race, the way that you did, that's a big ballsy move, and you really pulled it off well tonight. I mean, you started 10th overall, and you wind up bringing home the AM win. I mean, what does that do for your motivation for next season as we get ready to go into season 5?
Oh yeah, it's great. I love to leave with this, and like I say, y'all always know my mama's watching, and I know she's excited. She loves to see me get up there and run good. But yeah, it's fun, and just to run with these other guys. I hate that they had problems, and when they did and stuff. But that was basically I'm not that real fast guy. I try to keep from having the mistakes, and so that was taking those 2 tires was a big bold move, but my teammates were encouraging me, and I think they did too. And so it was the right call to make, and I was just excited to get that next win. Those GLR wins are not easy to come by, I promise you.
Yeah, they're definitely not. I mean, your competition is stiffer than a board out here, that's for sure. So, congrats once again on picking up the AM win tonight. But before we cut you loose, who helped you get it done on the finger licking good 00?
Well, I guess that you're gonna say that. I'm gonna say KFC. I had to eat a lot of chicken to get this done like this. But of course, first of all, I always want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me eternal life and giving me my wonderful family, Eddie, who has really been so instrumental in helping me, and Terry Lynn, my wife. She's always so very supportive. But boy, my mama, she's tearing down curtains and throwing pillows and stuff like that. So I'm just so thankful that they're willing to watch. I want to congrat to the champions, Mark Whitley and Charles Abert. I want to give them a call out, but also my teammates at Bandit. I've already said that, but I appreciate them and the encouragement they give me and the knowledge that they have. Also, Lincoln Tech. Glove Station, who is our title sponsor, Save 22, and the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, and also for Pat and Jamie for being on the side of my car. I appreciate them and all they do here at Go Locker. And you guys in the booth, I know Eddie's up there. I know he does a great job. I'm so proud of him, but I appreciate you too being there, Dave. Y'all do a great job.
Thank you, my friend. Congratulations once again, and I'll see you next season. I promise. I'll be right here.
All right. See ya.
Lord, about to
Well,
get him
Eddie,
a
that's
cork.
right.
Lord have mercy. Well, I look, I'm going to jump ahead of it. We're going to get this through and not waste everybody's time. We appreciate all these folks kind of waiting around so we can get everybody here. Now, we had a little bit extra time, so figure we might as well talk to some folks. And Logan got him in the booth right now. And Logan, you came into this race. You didn't qualify probably where you needed to be, but could could you expect that it was going to go caution free?
No, not one bit. It's that's not been the theme of the season at all. Obviously, that script kind of got flipped a little bit here in the playoffs. Not every race, but definitely wasn't expecting that today in the one race that I really could have used some help.
Yeah. Well, and it seemed like it was just impossible to pass. Once the tires started to wear out about 5 to 10 laps, it was just if you couldn't get to the outside of turn 3 and 4, you just weren't going to make the move. I saw you a couple times try to get down to the inside. It just got tight. Couldn't make the move on somebody. You're able to drive up pretty quickly there at the beginning, but it just kind of hit a brick wall there. I mean, looking back on it, that first couple runs, is there anything you could have done differently? Were you just kind of riding, or were you pushing, just couldn't make it through that dirty air?
No, actually, I was more happy with the first two runs. My third run is where just everything fell apart for me. I don't understand how that two tire strategy worked one bit. I tried it multiple times in practice. It sure as hell didn't work for me. So, well, props to Whitley, whatever, for figuring that out, I guess, and taking home a championship.
Yeah, I mean, still a fantastic season. You made it to the Final Four. I mean, that's worth the trophy in its own right, especially how competitive this season has been. So, man, congratulations. Not going to keep you any longer. You come home third here tonight, but it's still a fantastic season. Second in the championship, and the floor is yours, man. Who you got to thank?
Just everybody that takes part in these. We had, I believe it was 24, 25 drivers out here tonight for a championship race. That is incredible to see the attendance stay up like that throughout the entire season. So props to every single one of the drivers throughout this season. Of course, all of our sponsors here, Glove Station, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Lincoln Tech, Save 22, MK Fire Designs, InVets, Jam Printing and Promotion, all those guys. We can't do this without them. So love having them. Hopefully we get some more on board for next season. Maybe some other names out there and really open up the spotlight. And we get a lot of viewership on this stuff, and it's really fun to be a part of. Goat Locker as a whole, all the admins for everything that they do, and it's not an easy job. Of course, you guys up here in the booth, you killed it every single race this week on these broadcasts. Those split races, that's tough. I know it took a toll on everybody mentally that was doing it. So props to you guys. Just a huge shout out on that. And then of course my teammates over at Powerhouse and Big Fast Racing being my encouragement for the entire season, and everybody that was tuning in. I know I had a lot of fans out there in the chat. Sorry I let you down, but hopefully we can build back better.
All right, well, there you have it. Second in the Pro Championship, third in the race tonight. Logan Thurlkild comes away with not the race he hoped for, but still a fantastic season. And Dave, I think you're caught up with our second place finisher in the amateur division tonight, Jamie Lipton.
Hello.
Jamie, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me.
Yep.
Well, another rough season on the AM side, but I mean, overall, still a great run. I mean, coming into the playoffs, I mean, you get eliminated out of the round of 16, but still have a good finish tonight. What does that do for your encouragement for next season?
Yeah, it just makes me drive angry.
Fair enough. I get it. I mean, listen, I've watched. There's a couple of drivers that I don't like to see mad on the racetrack because bad things happen, and I get it. But overall, though, I think from what I've seen, does it feel like you've improved this season? Like, are you looking at maybe trying to move into that pro side?
I'm definitely a lot more comfortable with the cars and driving side by side with people. I feel like I can actively manipulate my car and kind of start manipulating the other car a little bit too, just by where I position myself. So I'm finally getting that feel of how the car is behaving, how I can use it, and what I can do with other cars on the track without wrecking people doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people go through that this season. I mean, and it's not just here, really, it's all across iRacing. But I think the standard that you guys put together here, um, at least in the Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA series, I mean, you guys and gals really set the bar high for good competitive racing.
Well, we try to, especially with a bunch of us AMs that are sitting there in the chat during the race. We're constantly helping each other out and pushing each other to do better. And then whenever somebody's got something that works, they're sharing that info to the next guy to help them get going.
Without a doubt. Well, listen, congratulations on another good season. Maybe not ending the way that you wanted it to, but nevertheless, a really good developmental season here on the AM side of the Glove Station ARCA series. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helps you get it done every week on the 16 machine?
Oh, definitely got to thank Jam Printing and Promotions. V Speed for broadcasting, you guys for broadcasting the series, Alexander PCs. Definitely got to give a big thanks to Glove Station for sponsoring the series. Got to thank my friends with Sim Racing Pride, Claire, Colton, Samuel, Wesley, Kristen. We're constantly pushing each other to do better and helping each other out, figuring out what works and what doesn't. And definitely got to thank my family big time for putting up with me on this stuff for so much, racing 6 days a week and doing race control for the seventh.
Definitely sounds like a busy week on the iRacing.com servers. But congratulations once again, and I hope to see you next season.
Oh, you will.
All right, Jamie, thanks very much. And Eddie, I'm going to flip it back to you. I think you've got Brock Price remaining.
Yeah, last driver, but certainly not least, Brock Price in the booth here. Third place finish in the amateur division tonight. And Brock, I think Samuel Yosef has been a fantastic driver and has improved so much this season. But I think you're right there with him as one of the most improved drivers in the series. And tonight you show that by coming home in third place, a great season. Kind of reflect a little bit on your season and how you feel it went.
Well, I just try to race real hard. It's a real competitive series, Goat Locker. They're really good to us. And I just try to stay out of everybody's way and just run my own race. And it usually works out. Not all the time, though.
Yeah, tonight was tough. It was tough to pass out there, and it was hard to make those spots up. But you were able to make up 8 from the start of the race. Started 21st, you ended up 11th. How did you do that? What did you find out that other people couldn't figure out?
I just tried to stay out of the championship people's way, and I was just running my race. And I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and pit early. And that's what I did that first time. And I think that's really what helped out.
Yeah, and you're able to get some good position there. Not quite able to keep up with the two-tire strategy, which seemed to be the race-winning strategy for both the AM and the Pro. Took 4 tires there, but still, fantastic season, fantastic finish for you. And, man, congratulations on a great season. As always, who do you have to thank? Any sponsors, shout-outs?
Well, thank you. And yeah, I just want to iRacing, MK Fire Designs, Sims Motion, uh, Glove Station, Goat Locker, you guys in the broadcast, and all my competitors there. It's a real competitive series, and I just like being here.
All right. Well, there you have it. Brock Price here tonight comes home 11th overall, third in the amateur division. And Dave, unbelievable season, unbelievable. Uh, this whole series has been so much fun from start to finish. So much drama, so much going on. It's all sometimes just too much. Can't even remember it all. But I just wanted to take a moment, and before I let you send us out of here, and I want to thank Glove Station. I want to thank them for coming on board and making this series what it is. It would not have been as popular, it would not have been as competitive, and people wouldn't want to come here if it wasn't for a great sponsor like Glove Station. Go check them out. If you're buying some gloves, don't care what it is, what kind of gloves you want to wear a rubber glove on your head and be a rooster. Hey, go to Glove Station and pick you up some. Go on social media. Let them know that you appreciate them. If you love this series, let them know that Goat Locker Racing keeps Glove Station in your mind all the time. You cannot do without sponsors like them. We also want to thank Lincoln Tech for their sponsorship of Goat Locker. I mean, it has been unbelievable what Goat Locker and Lincoln Tech have been able to do. Car shows, different events, FFAs together, working together in tandem for veterans, for students, working together to do some really, really cool things. And there's going to be so much more on the horizon between Lincoln Tech and Goat Locker. I cannot wait. But I wanted to thank those sponsors for their sponsorship of this series for Glove Station and Lincoln Tech for the entire fall season, which has just been incredible.
Yeah, this whole season has been incredible, Eddie. And I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to hang out here with you guys on V-Speed and be able to call these races week in and week out. I mean, watching the Glove Station ARCA series be able to divide itself, between the East and West, the Pro and the M. I mean, I really think that we also need to make sure that we salute and tip our cap to Jake Ellingson and Dan Craighkeel, who, of course, are our series directors, and race control, Rob Kubat, every week. I mean, there's a lot that goes into putting these races on. There's a lot that goes into running any kind of iRacing competitive league like this. And, Mr. Craighkeel and Mr. Ellingson do a great job of that. So for myself, Dave Regal, and my broadcast partner and producer extraordinaire, Mr. Eddie Smith, we want to thank all of you for being on this journey with us this season as we bring Season 4 to a close in the Goat Locker Racing Glove Station ARCA series. And we want to thank all of you for spending your Monday nights with us over these last several weeks, and, of course, culminating in tonight's championship. So for myself, Dave Regal, and Eddie Smith, thank you once again. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.